All right, well, in this lesson we're going to look at radical expressions that we're going to change to rational. Think of the root word in rational as ratio, so we're going to go from a radical form to what appears to be a fractional form. Now in this case we've got the fifth root of p squared. Now this is called the index number, and it can be any root, but to go from radical form to rational is simply a matter of going like so. Reason is the index number will always become the denominator. The power will become the numerator. And for instance, if you took, say, the cube root of 8, whoops, I didn't write that right. If we took the cube root of 8 and put that in your calculator, you'll find that the answer is the number 2. And it'll be the same as 8 to the 1/3. If you raise 8 to the 1/3 in your calculator, you'll get the same answer as well. All right, in problem number 2, it's a similar deal. We are taking the cube root of 10n, all of which is squared, and we're going to put it in a rational form. And so the index number 3 is the denominator. The power is always the numerator. But the way I've got it written right now, only the n is raised to the 2/3 power. If I really want to represent this, I must put that in parentheses to indicate that not only the n, but the 10 as well is raised to the 2/3 power. All right, similarly, in number 3, we're taking the fourth root of 5v. Well, to move that to a rational form, we'll take 5v and raise it to the 1/4 power. Again, there's no power here, so we understand that to be the number 1. And again, the index number, the fourth root, is always the denominator. And like number 3, number 4 is simply the cube root of x to the first power. So putting it in rational form becomes x to the 1/3 power. And the student needs to be able to go back and forth. So starting with number 5, we're going to go from rational form back to the radical form. All right, in negative 5, in number 5, we have 7x to the 4/3 power. Now notice it's not just the x, it's the whole thing, 7x raised to the 4/3 power. Now to go into a radical form, we need to remember that the denominator represents the index number. The number 4 represents the power. Now there are actually two ways that we can write this. We can write it like so, where the fourth power is under the radical sign, the cube root of 7x fourth, or we could also write it this way. We could say this is the same as the cube root of 7x, all of which is to the 4th power. It means the same thing, and it just depends on the situation. Sometimes you'll see it this way, sometimes you'll see it that way. All right, number 6, we have 3n, all of which is raised to the 5/4 power. Now moving that into radical form, the 4 in the denominator means this is going to be a fourth root to the 5th power. So I'm going to write it this way, the fourth root of 3n, all of which is raised to the 5th power. Number 7, we've got 6x, all of which is raised to the 1/3 power. So this is going to be simply the cube root of 6x to the 1st power, but we typically do not write the 1. It's just understood to be there. And in number 8, we have 7r raised to the 5/3 power, and hopefully by now the student is recognizing this means it's going to be the cube root of 7r, all of which is raised to the 5th power. So the cube root of 7r, all of which is raised to the 5th power. And that's it.